Welcome back everybody to the daily show where I'll be doing technical analysis on stock market. So before we get started, please hit that like button and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel and get daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, live trading, and there are lots of them, definitely check out my link down in the description for Patreon. And now let's get right into the market. So Amazon raises spending forecast to 125 billion as third quarter results top estimates. Huge beat on earnings. And then Apple also rising with that. But intraday, market was down. What we got today in the market, Dow was down, and we'll talk about Dow first today. 0.23%. Nasdaq was down 1.57%, so a pretty decent pullback. S&P was down 1%, and Russell was down 0.81%. 11 sectors, and you can see here, guys. Real estate, healthcare. Everything else pretty much got chopped off today. Stock market map, what do we have here? The big names took a big hit. Meta was down over 11%. Google, with some good earnings, was up 2.45%. And this one here shorted twice today at almost near 290, and it paid because it was up, I think, 7%. So this was really good. Tesla down nearly 5%. Amazon down 3.23%. And now it's up, I think, 14% with that beat on earnings. Apple up 0.63%. I think Apple and Nvidia, despite Nvidia going down, it was holding up this market. And Google, if these three things were down today, that could be a disaster market, especially Nasdaq 100 would be down possibly 3-4% today. But Nvidia, Google, and Apple definitely helped out today. Microsoft down nearly 3%, Oracle down 6.69%, so took a big hit right there. In healthcare, you can see Eli Lilly again shining with earnings, and this thing went up nearly 4%. And now let's talk about Dow Jones because I need to show you guys something. So Dow Jones down 0.29% this morning, opened at 474. The gap was just below that. We did not fill the gap. And what happened? It gained 480 here on DIA. But look at the size of this candle and what happened at the end, guys. Even now, it's barely up. Look at the candle. Look at the top here. Absolutely getting smashed. Now, if you look at this 1 hour chart or even 30-minute, what you're going to see is a clear double top here. Now, is that going to play out? We're going to wait and see. Market is definitely really overextended to the upside, and so far we got a tiny mini pullback today. Even Dow, after going up to 480, came back, gave back like $5, but not quite the pullback that we're looking for. So I think in the short term, tomorrow is end of the month, we might see a little bit of a breather going on here in the market. A little bit of upside with Amazon and Apple reporting earnings, and those things are up, and Nasdaq is up now 1%. You can call it a month end window dressing or whatever, whatnot. But later on, come next week and the week after, I think we're gonna see some downside here in the market. Now, if you look at this candle and people that can read charts and they believe in technical analysis, this is not a bullish looking candle, and I think Dow will likely to come down here. We might even get a spooky Halloween where we get a pullback, and if that happens, Dow can come back and close this gap at 473. So far, it's holding at 475, and why? Because of this rising blue line on your screen, 5-day moving average. 475 gives up 473, and then it can come down rapidly down to this gap 468. To the upside, we still need to break and hold over 480, and if that happens, then we're going to talk about more upside here on Dow. All right, so triple Q. Just a couple days ago, I made a video that market is overextended, and this is just like when the market goes down. I do make videos about buying the dips, and there are people will always disagree and say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Market did pull back today, nearly $10 here on Nasdaq, and the pullback would continue possibly tomorrow if that wasn't for those earnings that were really good that came out after our today, right? So it's up now over 1%. So we got down to $10. It was down. Now we took back 7. So it's barely down like $3. Now, Nobody knows how the heck, and one tweet might just do it, guys. One tweet from Trump. So tomorrow market is going to open, and there are some interest because if this thing does not hold up tomorrow, and especially if Apple gives up some of those gains, which more than likely will give up some gains. You guys saw that on Google. Things can happen when things are overextended, not because the earnings are good and things are just gonna push higher. That's not always the case. We'll talk about Amazon in my big mega cap stock update video tonight, and that's another thing where Amazon can actually do a $10 pullback from where it's trading right now, which is at I think 250 plus, right? So triple Q, if you look at my screen, we did close below that 628 level, but then we came back up right now. So tomorrow, your line this end would be down here at 628, this blue line on your screen. If that gives up, the next one would be down here at 624, bottom of this candle, and then this gap comes into play, which I think, with this gap up, I don't see it unless something really bad comes out, a tweet most likely then you'll see that it's breaking down below that a support which is at 624. Otherwise, we might see a retest of previous all-time high, or possibly we'll just open up with this gap up, and then just like we have seen this week, two three times that we opened up on a gap up and then sideways all day. That's what you can expect tomorrow from Nasdaq 100 to the upside. Definitely, I mean, if this thing remains over 628, 630, it can push definitely up to that high again, and maybe we'll go on and make another brand new all-time high just for the sake of it because it's there. On SPY ETF, it's down over 1%, and this one came really, really close to the gap, but we did not fill the gap. So a lot of people will argue and say, oh, it's going to the moon. Trust me, guys, I have seen it over and over. When things get overextended, we stayed outside the Bollinger Band for uh third day, and then what happened yesterday? We came back in, and today we came back in even more, breaking below the 5-day moving average. So people who actually are buying 1DT, 2DT puts, they're in a lot of pain because they didn't get paid. Even calls, if it's not going up $3 4, you're not getting paid. But I don't buy those too often, and I don't even play those when market is this overextended. I usually go a little bit, a longer couple of months out. I might go heavy, but couple of months out, and this is how you make money easily to the downside. We almost got up to 690. There is a huge, huge call wall at 690. It's still there, so don't get surprised if this thing goes back up to 690 and then pulls back to close the gap down here at 678. But tomorrow again, we're only up $4. So if this thing does not continue to the upside and breaks below that 682, it can come down to close the gap at 678. But if this thing remains over that 682 and then 683.35, the 5-day moving average. So I would say 682 to 683. That's going to be your key line in the sand for tomorrow. If we remain over that end of the day, then definitely look into 690 in the near short term before getting a decent sized pullback here on S&P 500. But to the downside, that 682 breaks, immediately you'll see a move down to 678 and possibly down to even 672. There is also another order here that is sitting at 672 to 676, so it can rapidly come down here. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it was trading outside the Bollinger Band, it was overextended, and now that we got a mini pullback, but we already recovered, I think the market can go on and possibly make or try to make another brand new all-time high, and then it will come back and close these gaps very soon. So people that are extremely bullish, especially right now, they don't want to hear about market going down a little bit. And I'm not talking about market going down and crashing, guys. That's not my message. Some people think when you talk about market going down, like, oh, he thinks market's gonna crash like 2008 and all that. No, I'm talking about maybe 3 4% downside. That's about it, because unless something changes on the monthly time frame, then I can talk about the bigger crash or whatever that's coming. But right now, I just don't see that. I'm expecting, a smaller pullback. And why? And I've been talking about this here that, Dow, Nasdaq, and then S&P went on and made a brand new all-time high where this thing got definitely crushed. Last 4 days, this thing was pretty much red, and today we closed right at the support. This trend line, you can see we got a touch, bottom touch, this touch, 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 and another touch. So if we do not hold it here on Russell, it can definitely come down to 240 or even lower from there. If it holds right here at 245, 244, then watch out for a pushback up to 248, maybe even 250 to 252. So VIX pretty flat for the day, and this thing is holding up well. And there were a lot of calls coming in for $23, I think, or 22, and then there were calls coming in for $33, and those are worth millions of dollars. Now, is that going to happen at some point? Well, if these things are coming up, they know something, and something is going to happen. Now, we still don't have a breakout, which is 18 bucks. It's holding around that 1648 5-day moving average. If this thing holds here around 16, we might see a pushback up to 17 to 18. And over that, that's when you're going to see 20 plus on VIX might come up here at 22, even 24. And that will trigger that sell off in the market that I've been talking about. Uh, and that might not just even happen going into tomorrow because especially end of the month, unless, like I said, if there is something, some negative catalyst, something comes up, then you're going to see that sell off tomorrow. Otherwise, market is up, and I'm expecting market to stay up and possibly even consolidate. Pretty much go sideways tomorrow if it stays up. But again, guys, I'm making this video around 6:30 p.m. Right now Eastern time. By then tomorrow morning, anything can happen overnight. That's the market that we're living in right now. So don't put too much weight to it because of these tweets and the president just getting involved in the market and saying things, and that's actually triggering whether a sell-off or even a rally in the market. Now gold, we need to talk about it because I do have a position on gold and it's doing really well here. We added here to the downside when this thing came down here, and now that position is green. There is a gap at 79 where at least gets up to 75. I can get paid more here on gold. But GDX holding over that 5-day moving average. Now this could be a lower high here also. And if that's the case, we need to take out this low down here at 68. That would bring down to 65 to this gap. But that's not the case right now. If this thing rises back up and gets over these two candles, which is at 73, it can definitely push up to 75 to 76.16 and then 79. We need to talk about dollar. That's why you got to be really cautious in this market. I mean, look at this thing, guys. So I'm not going to go show you guys the entire chart. It was flagging here. We talked about it before that dollar is flagging here, and boom, what happened yesterday? What happened yesterday? Massive breakout and the continuation today. But the only thing here that gives the market a breather here, that we do have resistance right here around 100. We're topping out at the upper Bollinger Band. This Bollinger Band has to expand for this thing to move even higher. And also here we need to take out this high from these previous candles and the candle that we have today. So dollar takes that out. That's why I wanted to see it over 100. If that happens, there will be some selling in the market. A dollar definitely on a breakout, and you cannot ignore this. Looking at this chart right on my screen. So keep an eye on this. If this thing makes a move, that would put pressure on the equity market, and market can actually get that pullback at some point. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys.